Shalom, I give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. I give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Aki and pushing his word out across the four corners of the earth. And as you can see with current news, with America, with this $900 billion pandemic relief bill, and $25 billion of it will go into this emergency rental relief, and also it will extend this eviction moratorium. So everybody's expecting the Congress to pass this coronavirus relief bill. Includes rental assistance and continuation of the nationwide eviction moratorium, because it expires on December the 31st of 2020. And so a lot of Americans that are in dire need are hoping that this extension goes into January the 31st, 2021. So that would give them some more breathing room, and they can gather some ideas or plans to get some resources together with this situation. Well, what these people don't understand, even though this is like a temporary fix with this relief bill, you still have back rent to pay. So these landlords can still do the normal process of the eviction by going to the courthouse, filing on you, or waiting for that court date. But they cannot physically remove you yet because you're still under this eviction moratorium. But once that is up, you still have to pay that back rent from over the previous months when you wasn't able to pay it. So as you can see through the spirit, this place America known as Babylon the Great is crumbling, because all this is going to lead into rioting. A lot of people are going to be homeless. So it's going to be that survival of the fittest mentality out here. And from the Edmund online for moratorium, it goes into an authorization to a debtor to postpone due payment. So that's simply what it means, tending to delay. So a lot of these Americans do not have the resources to pay their rent because of this so-called pandemic. It has wiped out a lot of jobs. So these people are banking on this stimulus check to arrive, which is going to be $600. You have a lot of Americans being mad about that. Here it is, America's supposed to be the richest country, but they giving their Americans that in dire need $600, and that's really just going to take care of the groceries, because you have a lot of these households in America, they have a lot of kids, and that's not going to be able to take care of the rent or their mortgage. So this place is crumbling right before our very own eyes, and that leads me to 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter and the 18th verse. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars. So as you can see with America, many sorrows, distresses, great mournings, lamentations, the beginning of famine and great death. You have all these different cities across America are supplying aid due to the food shortage. So the beginning of famine and great death, and this is all orchestrated by the elites of Esau Edom, because they're in control of the food supply. So they systematically doing this so they can usher in this new world order. But the true puppeteers of this is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because it fulfills biblical prophecy. So the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars. So with this eviction moratorium, once it expires January 31st, 2021, once Congress do pass this bill, then that's going to leave a lot of people homeless. A lot of people going to be sleeping in their cars, be going to these shelters, sleeping out here in the streets. You're going to have a lot of people to resist and fight their landlords to stay in their homes. You already have people around America doing these eviction protests. If you sign that lease knowing that you have to pay that certain amount of rent each month, then that's on you. So this is going to lead to a lot of protests, a lot of riots, then a lot of resistance. Then this is going to aim into civil wars. So the beginning of wars, and the powers should stand in fear, the beginning of evils, meaning bad times. And that's exactly what's coming to America. No matter how they try to present it on national TV, We have hope. Things are going to get better. No, this is the beginning of evils, meaning bad times. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And this is Ezra asking in the spirit because he knew he was going to be back here through the process called reincarnation. So he's back here today, and you already know he's in the truth. So he's going to be protected. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. And the scourge is like a whip that causes great suffering or punishment too. Verse 20, but for all these things they should not turn for their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So 2/3 of the nation of Israel, after seeing all this mayhem and chaos going on in the streets of America, they're still not going to have that mindset to repent and to acknowledge their faults and come back to their true power, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. So therefore, they're going to be forgotten on this side. And they're going to be caught in the midst of these riots, these different civil wars, race riots, the famine, martial law, FEMA camps, and the list goes on. Verse 21, behold, victuals should be so good, cheap upon earth. So these different food provisions. You already see right now, it's a food shortage in America, where you have a lot of these people around America are aiding people with food supplies, that they should think themselves to be in good case. So you see the stimulus checks supposed to be arriving. You see Congress supposed to be passing this coronavirus relief bill. So you thinking that, okay, I have another month of an extension, I don't have to pay my rent. But who knows if this government is going to allow this extension after January 31st, 2021. Because if they do not, then you're going to be left out there homeless. So these people right now thinking themselves to be in good case, because I saw an article was going into the stimulus check supposed to be arriving, which is $600. And you have a lot of Americans mad, but they're still saying it's a start. So they had a little spark of hope, thinking things are going to get back better, which is not. So as it says that they should think themselves to be in good case. And even then should evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So more bad times is going to grow upon this earth, mainly in America, known as Babylon the Great. And that leads me to the book of Jeremiah, the 51st chapter and the 8th verse. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. And going back to take balm for her pain, this lady stated in the video that this eviction moratorium is like a big band-aid on a big gushing wound. So no matter how much type of aid or balm or any type of healing ointment you put on that big gushing wound, it's still going to leak out of that band-aid. It's going to cause more problems. This place of America is becoming more infected. Verse 9, we will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So this coronavirus relief bill, it's just a temporary fix. It's not going to really help anything, because that $600 is really going to go to groceries to take care of the household. So what happens to the rent? It's still stacking up. Then that means these people are still going to have to pay that back rent. If they don't, then they're going to have to get kicked out, evicted. So we will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. And it says, forsake her and let us go, every one into his own country. So these heathen nations that came over here to be partakers of this Babylonian empire, to make money so they can send money back to their loved ones back in their homelands, as they see that this place is shutting down, a lot of businesses are being closed due to these different restrictions and lockdown orders of this so-called pandemic. So these other nations are going to forsake America and go back to their own countries. And it says, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. And as you can see, the mentality here, things are getting worse. The love of many being waxed cold, iniquity is being more abounded. So that's Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is allowing America's sins to stack upon one another. And that's when Yahweh is going to give Yahushua that green light to come back and wreak havoc upon this place, America, this wicked kingdom. So that was just a quick update through the spirit. We're going to see how this eviction moratorium goes. And if they do extend into another month, which is January 31st, 2021, who knows if this government is going to extend it for another month or a longer period of time. The scriptures say never trust thy enemy. So you have a lot of our people, especially these other nations, are banking on this stimulus bill. Believe it or not, majority of our people want to see this place, America, get back on its feet so things can go back to normal, but not looking forward to a kingdom where they will be in rulership over these other nations. So the ones of our people in that mindset, they're going to die on this side. So with that, hope y'all was edified. Y'all stay strong. Shalom.
And then, Eliza, as we heard Andrew mention, the CDC order does not waive missed payments. It just postpones them. So what happens when this eventually ends? Because eventually it will. Will tenants suddenly be expected to pay all those rent payments that they missed?
Absolutely. An eviction ban does not mean that people do not have to pay rent. It just postpones when that bill comes due. Now, many people across the United States have lost jobs through no fault of their own, or it might not be safe for them to go back to work. And for that reason, it's important that whatever sort of stimulus agreement Congress comes to includes money to help alleviate the type of debt that families may be accumulating through no fault of their own across the course of the pandemic. So in a place like New York City, where rents are higher, the average amount of debt that tenants are facing right now is $5,000. It varies from city to city, but that information, I think, is crucial to how generous our stimulus response should be.